is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello, everybody, welcome
The hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode number 70 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. My name is Adam and I am joined by three friends. That was quite hard to say. I nearly messed that up. 70 episodes
Wrestling
in.
friends.
Sam is here.
Hey.
And John is also here.
Hello.
And Brett is with us.
Hiya.
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 Hiya, guys. How's it going?
Man, good. Yeah, right. Wrestling is good. It's a good time to be watching wrestling.
I was
is.
absolutely buzzing after this pay-per-view.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Nice.
I agree. And that's our review.
Yep.
That's it. Thank you so much. Next week we'll be
Quite
back.
a gushy one.
It's going to be as gushy as Dustin Rhodes' forehead.
Oh, dear.
Before we get into what we're going to talk about, AEW, I thought it'd be nice to have a quick check-up with Sam, our Best of the Super Juniors expert, or just a guy who has a lot of time on his hands, just to give us a quick roundup, really. What's been going on? Nice and quick. Any recommendations?
Yeah, Best of the Super Juniors. It's hotting up. We're kind of reaching the final stages of the groups. Block A, Shingo Takagi is more or less dominating. Block B, El Phantasmo, Robbie Eagles, Taguchi Japan, and Ryusuke Taguchi, and Will Ospreay all kind of in the running. It looks like maybe El Phantasmo is going to take it.
Ooh, mad. That's mad.
It's been an incredible Best of Super Juniors. If you're looking for a match to watch, go watch El Phantasmo versus Rocky Romero. Oh, it's beautiful. Little bit of a tear. Really great match.
Wow.
Yeah.
I may well just do that. Who am I kidding? I'm definitely not going to do that. So, last podcast, episode 69, was our WWE Money in the Bank 2019 review, and it was a good show. Got a good score. This podcast, we are here to talk about an event that set out to change the face of professional wrestling by a promotion put together by a group of wrestlers ready to wage war on WWE. We are here to talk about AEW Double or Nothing.
AE dubs.
I can't believe they're using dubs. I hate it.
It's so bad, isn't
I
it?
thought of you, John, when they started doing that. I knew you'd hate that. Anyway, let's talk about AE Dubs after this.
Oh, and a double stop to the hardest part of the ring. Goodness.
Double or Nothing 2019. Do you think they're likely to repeat pay-per-views?
I'm sort of hoping they're going to keep doing like card puns, so it's going to be like the next one will be Three of a Kind, and then
Snap.
Snap, Four of a Kind, Full House, Royal Flush.
That's just maybe
Happy Families.
Two of my absolute favourite songs are by Three of a Kind and Snap. Rhythm is a Dancer by Snap, and Baby Cakes by... I shouldn't say that's my favourite song. Baby Cakes by Three of a Kind. Do you remember that?
No.
Baby Cakes, you just don't know, no. I'm not going to carry on because I've actually gone...
I love hearing you sing.
I've gone bright red, and it's a podcast, and I'm embarrassed. That is... Oh, God. And a few weeks ago, we talked about my love of Lighthouse Family. I do actually like good music.
I mean, yeah, Lighthouse Family is good music. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
I mean, it's good music if you're a local DJ, maybe.
You know they're on tour at the moment in the UK.
That's my little side job. I do weddings. Anyway, yes. So, God, that took a little diversion. Double or Nothing was held at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. A great venue for this. The attendance was 12,000, apparently, although we had that little joke when the guys came out to introduce the pay-per-view saying that it was 20,000. I think Matt Jackson said, wrestling isn't real. Let's call it 20,000, which was pretty funny.
Nice.
That was at the end of the pre-show. And did you... Because it was weird. I watched the pre-show, which was an hour, and those guys came out towards the end of it, and then it cut off. Did that happen for you?
Yeah. So that's kind of... I've missed the very beginning of the show because of the kind of trying to watch between both the pre-show and the main show, and
Yeah.
TV kind of didn't do a good job.
Yeah, I don't think it
between the
actually
two.
cut, though, did it? Like, it cut when it went to the main show, but it didn't finish off that segment.
No.
Or is that me?
Yeah, it didn't finish off that segment for me. It went to an ad and then it was finished, and then the main show started off as if it was a brand new thing, which is good, but yeah, we missed the end of what they were saying. But anyway, we had plenty to watch because this came in at a whopping, including the pre-show, 4 hours and 52 minutes.
Wowza.
I mean, guys, come on. I know we're going to be positive, but I was not expecting it to be this long.
I don't think you can count the pre-show as total showtime unless you're in attendance.
Okay, 3 hours 52 minutes for the main show.
Perfect time for a pay-per-view.
I mean, all I can say is it
Snappy.
didn't feel like it dragged.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely not. What would you cut from the card as well? Like, if you cut, what would you cut?
I would cut a few matches.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I really would.
Interesting.
I've got a feeling I'm going to be the negative Nelly on this episode.
dear.
Mr. WWE over there.
Yeah.
Vince has got to him, guys.
Yeah.
Good old
I
Adam
didn't
McMahon.
realise we're getting little bungs from Vince.
I heard there was going to be a new 205 Live podcast, and at the moment I'm in the running, so I've got to be really nice. But yeah, 4 hours 52 minutes, all in, nice.
Very good.
The card, Sam.
Yeah, so
What
we
was on it?
started off the pre-show with a 21-man casino battle royale, starring Dustin Thomas, MJF, Sunny Days, Brandon Cutler, Michael Nakazawa, Isaiah Cassidy, Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela, Brian Pillman Jr., Sean Spears, Billy Gunn, Glacier, Jungle Boy, Mark Quinn, Ace Romero, Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, Sonny Kiss, Tommy Dreamer, Orange Cassidy, and Adam Page.
Wow.
Well done.
We then went on to Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara, which then rounded out the pre-show. Onto the main card, we had SoCal Uncensored versus Strong Hearts, the OWE guys, I think.
Yes.
We had Fatal
China.
4-Way, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Nyla Rose, versus Smiley Kylie Ray, versus Awesome Kong. Lovely little surprise entrance there.
Yeah.
We then went on to Best Friends versus Angelico and Jack Evans. Jack Evans?
Russo.
And
if you
Angelico. And
Angelico
Jack Evans.
and Hack Evans.
If you struggle with that one, Sam, good luck with the next one.
I know, yeah.
This
we
is
then-
where Sam's good. Sam can
where-
do this.
this is
He's
where
gonna-
I shine.
He's going to nail this.
All right, we then went on to Hikaru Shida.
What a lovely accent.
We then went on to Hikaru Shida, Riho Abe, and Riho. We then went on to Hikaru Shida, Riho Abe, and Ryo Mizunami versus Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura.
Nice.
Yuka Sakazaki's a lot of fun.
Great name.
We then had Cody versus Dustin.
Oh,
Beautiful match. Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers. Incredible match. And then Chris Jericho. Thank you, Chris Jericho. Versus Kenny Omega in the main event.
very nice. So, an interesting card. I mean, in many ways, I don't think you could say that's a stacked card in the sense that there's quite a few unknowns there, and and people that a lot of the fans might not have necessarily heard of. I mean, there's a lot that I hadn't seen before. But that's definitely a positive, I think, of AEW, the fact that they're willing to get in so many different people, such a wide variety.
Yeah, I think it's part of the appeal that they managed to mix complete unknowns with like well-established names and names from like long past generations of wrestling as well. A bit of everything.
Yeah, agreed. The comms team was Alex Marvez, Excalibur, and Jim Ross. General thoughts on them? I think they had quite a few teething issues, didn't they?
Yeah,
I
they
think
were
Excalibur
struggled.
was very good.
He's great on the sort of in-match comms.
Yes, awful on the other stuff.
Yes.
I thought.
Yeah. As was that other guy. What did you say his name was?
Alvarez?
Alex Marvez.
Oh, he was terrible.
The
Yeah,
to camera stuff was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The camera stuff was bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really bad. Like at the start of the pay-per-view, it was like, this is a historic moment, like their first major pay-per-view, if you're not counting All In, which we're not, because it wasn't AEW really. They didn't even seem that pumped. It was weird. It was very weird.
I need to get Renee
anyway.
Young on board. Let's sort him out.
Yeah, she'll be out of a job soon enough. She'll be available. So yeah, as always, we're going to focus firstly on the key matches, which we've picked out, which will be Cody versus Dustin, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, and Jericho versus Omega. And then we'll talk about best of the rest, worst of the rest, pick a star performer, and then give the pay-per-view a score out of 10. So, first key match, and what a match. Cody versus Dustin. Brother versus brother. Rhodes versus
Holy
Rhodes.
motherfucking shit.
Happening.
Yeah.
It's happening, guys. 70 episodes in, we are reviewing a Dustin Rhodes match.
Oh my God, this probably is.
Completely seriously.
This actually is the first time.
So
Your
happy.
idol.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Sam.
I
And
can't believe this.
holy shit.
This
Should we
was
talk about the
amazing.
entrances?
Yeah, right.
I mean, the camera crew fucked it up. One of the many times they did, focusing on the wrong entrance, and then Cody comes in behind the cameraman.
That was quite funny.
Yeah. But
teething problems.
The throne, the sledgehammer, the fuck you to Triple H.
Yes.
I have heard some mixed things on this, from a really cool entrance to that was a bit pony and shit.
Oh, I loved it. I
loved it. I think
brilliant.
At first when they walked in and they just looked at it, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is a bit like on the pony side. But then when they got and she gave him the sledgehammer and then he walked up, I was like, no, I'm here for this. This is fucking cool.
So I really liked it. The only thing I think it needed was, like that, is it the IBM advert where the guy runs into the cinema and it's the Apple advert, he runs into the cinema, smashes it, the 1984 parody. Classic one. It's a classic advert. It's definitely classic. He just needed to chuck that sledgehammer at the throne. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, I thought when it exploded, it was a bit cheesy.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. It was really cool until it turns out it's a big polystyrene chair.
Yeah, it would have been more badass if he'd actually smashed it to pieces rather than just have the effects with one smash. But, I was going to say brave, but it's just bloody exciting, the fact
it's
that...
a very pointed entrance, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I saw a story as well earlier today that apparently the Young Bucks knew nothing about it until the morning they were doing the run through. Cody just turned up with this throne with skulls on it.
Do you know what my favourite part is? I wonder if Triple H sitting there watching it, so I was like, who the fuck was this guy again? Was he Ted DiBiase's son?
Yeah, probably.
The weird thing is, though, the actual match itself felt quite a lot like an old Triple H match.
That's kind of the beautiful irony is, for a match that was meant to be symbolising the death of the Attitude Era, it was the most Attitude Era match I think I've seen in years.
It's the most blood I've ever seen in any match.
Oh my god, so much blood.
Boy.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved this match, but there was one point that the camera showed and it was just like pouring from a
Dripping.
tap out of his forehead. There was like a stream. There wasn't like a drip. It was like connected. And I was just like, oh, this is too much blood.
There was a lot of blood. There was clear. The thing for me, which was quite weird, was they kind of cut to a replay of when Brandy speared him. And then you could see him with his head under the apron blading.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit like, oh, maybe don't draw attention to that.
I'm just worried. He's clearly out of practice with blading because he went far too deep. Far too deep.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, this is a match that I love more with hindsight, but during it, I was like, what the fuck? Like this, it was nasty. It was really uncomfortable. And I was of the opinion that just someone give him a towel.
Yeah.
Like, someone do something.
Yeah.
This is a mess. And it kind of took me out of it a bit. I was like, surely he can't carry on.
There was a point though where it did like Dustin started to sort of
Run
come
out
back
of
in
blood.
that match. Yeah. And he started to run out of blood and
Took a while, though, didn't it?
It did
ages.
take a while, but it definitely it picked up and then it just played into it becoming an iconic thing, I think.
I think the thing is that I personally, I actually quite like blood in matches, but I think it needs to be kind of sparingly used. Like, kind of, you don't want it to be sort of. I would be upset if AEW every single match was like this.
Yeah, I'd like to think there probably won't be.
There's no way
this
it
was
meant to be
definitely
that
a
bad.
match that it felt like, it felt worthy.
It worked within the story of the match, didn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it definitely takes away. I think it takes away from it slightly. It's almost like a perfect match in terms of storytelling and everything like that. But then that just took me out of it. Just the real life, like, oh my god, that is pouring out of him. He needs some attention.
I have that, but I had that only for a moment. But then I think it just did play into the story, and it just played into his comeback, even though,
I completely agree. It was totally uncomfortable, but I think kind of this is something that's going to be remembered. Like,
Yeah, it was
when
iconic.
you
Definitely.
look back in a few years' time, this is going to be. Do you remember that time when Dustin Rhodes basically swam in his own blood for an hour?
It's one of the most compelling matches I think I've ever seen. I was on the edge of my seat the whole way through it, and at the end, I was in tears.
Yeah,
It was incredible.
That bit where he did about the next pay-per-view, the next match sort of thing.
He needs his
and
brother.
when he started to choke up saying I need my brother, I was just like,
that
choked up
promo
as
was
well.
a throwback as well.
Who was
It
it?
was a throwback to a Dusty Rhodes WCW promo.
Ooh,
Like
nice.
the same wording and stuff. Do Do you know what kind of sort of when I was watching it, and I was a little bit like, oh, there's a lot of blood here. Is this okay? It was the fact that you forget that, you know what, Dustin Rhodes is a veteran wrestler. Like, he has seen and done it all. He has come out of the other side of the Attitude Era and is still going.
Yeah.
And, you know, this wasn't like a 20-minute match of a 50-year-old who's basically can't move. Like, this wasn't The Undertaker versus Goldberg in a couple of weeks. He wrestled for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
what
he
a
did actually.
performance.
And he was great. Absolutely great.
And you've got to wonder, actually, if somebody else had had that much blood pouring from their head, would they have stopped or asked for a towel, or would it have affected them? But he's so wily and so experienced, and knew it. He probably knew, well, this is much worse than I was planning on, but it's going to help the match in the long run.
That's the thing, is that, you know what? It never stopped him once. He wrestled that whole match, and that was just absolutely incredible.
I kept thinking, he's got these like slippery gloves on. Every time he's wiping his eyes, that's not going to be helping. Like, I just really wanted somebody to give him a towel.
He must have been like, there was a good section of like 5 to 10 minutes where he was pulling off some moves and obviously receiving some moves, and he must have been like doing it blind. Practically.
Yeah.
Like, vision must have been gone. Like Van Damme when he had the little pill thrown in his face in Bloodsport, you know, and he starts doing his spin.
You've managed to
ballet
shoehorn
kick.
Bloodsport, the Van Damme movie, into this.
Kumite.
Jesus. But the storytelling in this, I think, and I like the way it was sort of similar to the match that Cody had with Nick Aldis at All In. Like, everybody knows Cody isn't the best wrestler in the world, but my God, the storytelling.
Yeah, I think this is what I was saying about him that I like. He does, like, the pacing in his matches are good. The storytelling is good. Like, I actually like some of his old school moveset, so, you know, I don't hate his wrestling at all, but it's just the old school storytelling and swagger that he brings to it, which, you know, is very different to a lot of stuff now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's box office, even though his sort of moveset isn't.
Yeah, what's impressive is that this match and his match in All In didn't really stand out in those cards as like big matches, but he just stole the show in each one. It's been amazing.
We always knew this was going to be pretty massive, didn't we? With the fact that it was brother versus brother, and obviously the promos have been amazing.
Promos have been good.
I think you look back a few months ago and you say, Cody versus Dustin Rhodes, and I don't think you're going to get that much of an interest in that.
Yeah, I was a bit worried about it.
Yeah,
I think they did.
Yeah,
I think both of them did such an incredible job, and honestly, like, I was just so happy to see. Like, it was almost like a kind of, I've been ringing the bell for Dustin Rhodes / Goldust / forever for so long.
Yeah.
And this was like finally like, do you know what? This guy is world class veteran, future Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Well,
and he did still have it.
Probably not.
Yeah. He did still have it as well. He just never got the opportunities anymore in WWE, which is like, you know, great that he has had this opportunity to, you know, and obviously then go on and have some more, but like to have this opportunity to actually have a great match after, you know, just being sort of comedy sideline for so long.
Just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Legend. Like, who else of his age can do that? Like, to that degree. Just,
Sabu.
Loved it.
Massive respect. And let's not forget the whole family angle. It's just so great. Like the Dusty chants, you know, the rest of their family will have been watching that. You know, I'm assuming that they do actually like each other in real life, and there's no beef. Just everybody watching that would have been so proud. Incredible. And I'm really happy for you, Sam. So happy.
I'm just happy for Dustin Rhodes, who deserves this more than anyone. He's, like I said, the most underrated wrestler, in my opinion, for years and years and years. I'm just, over the moon for that.
Yeah. Good. What a great start. What a great start.
Yeah.
Okay, next key match is going to be the tag team match for the AAA titles. The Mexican promotion, the tag team championships, were on the line after the Young Bucks turned up in Mexico and won them from the Lucha Brothers. Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Yeah. This again, I thought these guys, like, especially at the beginning of this match, the hype when they, like, you know, Ray Phoenix was jumping up in the corner, kicking the turnbuckles before it even started. I was just like, yes, I'm well up for this.
Bloody love Ray Phoenix.
Oh, he's so good. He's so athletic and bouncy.
Yeah.
That early sequence he did on the ropes.
Oh, where he like did a hurricanrana and a super kick.
Yeah, got the crowd so fired up.
the section where was it Nick Jackson and Ray Phoenix outside of the ring just trying to hit each other, matrix dodging. Oh, beautiful. Loved it.
My jaw was on the floor the whole way through this match. I have no notes about it because I couldn't. I was just
there was too much.
Breathtaking.
You'd miss something trying to get like one bit down.
That bit with the double destroyers, with Pentagon on the hardest part of the ring, and then you got Phoenix off the rope doing into a destroyer. Was fucking insane.
And Ray Phoenix did this kick, like he did this thing where he sprung up. I don't know which Jackson it was on like the turnbuckle. I think the top turnbuckle. And he like did his little spring off like the middle rope into a spinny kick. Couldn't even describe it, but it just looks so smooth, so good.
That was actually a bit of an issue for me in this. Is that bit on the apron and a few bits again with the comms. It seemed like they didn't really call a lot of the spots at times, and there were things where I was like, "Wow, that was amazing! What was that?" And then they didn't say it, and then there weren't replays. But there were a lot of examples where things just weren't as slick and as smooth as. I'm sorry, but as WWE,
I mean,
because
the
they're
production
just
values,
finding their feet.
Still
I
have a
thought
way to go
on that part, and because I noticed that at that bit as well, and I just thought whether it was like the Excalibur guy giving JR perhaps a bit of room to do his thing, but JR isn't perhaps as up to scratch on some of the more indie style wrestling, so therefore he probably should have chimed in, and I think he did like a bit late with he's talking about the double destroyers, but they weren't doing it as it happened.
That was the thing. I was like, guys, we're doing a wrestling podcast, and I need you to tell me what that move was so I can pretend I spotted it myself. And now you haven't done a replay, and I don't know what it was.
I absolutely love the double sunset flip into the sharpshooters, the stereo, perfectly timed, synchronized swimming. It was just beautiful stuff, really.
I even love the story, like the whole story of the Young Bucks having ring rust and sort of accidentally hitting each other, and sort of how that played out throughout the rest of the match. This was my match of the night. I thought this was
easily. This was the best match of the night. I think kind of what I found fascinating actually about this is that kind of a lot of the time when we're watching wrestling, we'll see a great match from the Usos or the Revival and be like, you know what, they could be the best tag team in the world. And then you just watch the Young Bucks at their prime, and it is just incredible how great they both are, just how consistently talented they are. And they make tag team wrestling. It's not just individuals working together. It's proper, like, you know what, you don't have one without the other. It's so good to see, and I'm so excited for AEW to build on tag team wrestling, because you know what, it's a real huge part of the wrestling zeitgeist, and WWE have absolutely fucked it.
Did you hear JR's little dig with WWE about tag team wrestling during this match?
No.
She was sort of saying how it's like one of the mainstays of wrestling. It's such an important part of wrestling. It has the potential to be amazing, and just really laying it thick onto WWE.
Awesome. I mean, even look at like when we go to Riptide, all the tag matches they have there, they're just like obscenely like great, and for WWE to totally miss the boat on it is.
I've got to do a little shout out to any listeners who aren't really into the Young Bucks, like me.
How could you not be? Well, even after this match?
Yeah, I just like this match. Yeah, I don't know, guys.
Can we sack Mr. WWE?
People will side with what you guys said, and this is 3 against 1. So no doubt you were right. It's probably just the mood I was in. Basically, I had to watch all of this, like almost just before this. I had to watch it all this afternoon. And I just had my lunch, and I was lying on the sofa watching it, and I was feeling a bit snoozy at times, and I just not really that into the Young Bucks. Like, I'm really into the Lucha Brothers. They're 2 of my absolute favourites. But I just watch the Young Bucks at times. I'm just like, it feels just so choreographed.
Wow.
Honestly, I know they're good. But I don't like their ring gear. I don't like Matt's sideburns. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, somebody say something really positive about it, and then we'll move on.
I think you sucked the life out of this podcast, Adam.
You just like...
Unbelievable.
I thought we were going to be all so hyped on this podcast, so that'd be like, yeah, this is amazing.
But again, like, there were times, there was a bit where Ray Phoenix and Nick Jackson were doing stuff outside of the ring, and then all of a sudden Nick Jackson was at the top of the ramp.
Yeah,
It's like,
that was
well, how the
weird.
hell did he get there?
I
And
agree.
it was just the camera crew just missing
was-
stuff.
If you listen really carefully, you can actually hear Vince whispering into Adam's headphones as he's recording this podcast.
Yeah. Oh God, I really don't want this to come out that I'm the WWE fanboy.
Too late.
I just think it's important to have like some sort of differing
Do you know what?
opinions when
I
everybody's
understand.
losing their shit about this.
I completely understand that there are people who aren't mad on the Young Bucks because it kind of feels as if they are this in kind of crowd, and if you weren't following them for ages, it's very difficult to get in on now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I'm a late adopter. I just think it's just how I feel about them. It's like they're too, I don't know. Too
That's okay,
sort of
mate.
polished
I hate
and
Trent Seven.
straight down
Yeah,
the
yeah,
line.
there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll allow that.
John has very widely published views on women, like
Whoa, what?
Yeah, he absolutely loves.
loves them. Thinks
Her name? What's the one that he thinks is a future Hall of Famer? I always forget what her bloody name is. She wears
Nikki
flares.
James, and she is a
Nikki
future Hall of
James.
Famer. She's been in the business for like 20 odd years. Come on.
Do you know what? If she wants to be a future Hall of Famer, she's got to cut herself in a match against Cody.
Anyway, I'm going to try not to be negative. Oh, actually, no. I'm going to call it how I see it. Okay, and now we're going to move on.
Be true to
the next
yourself,
match.
Adam.
Exactly. The next key match, the final match, the main event of Double or Nothing: Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega.
Wow.
Entrances. What do we think about Chris Jericho's weird, like people dressed up as him? As
Oh, I love
Lionheart,
that. The sort of
Mr.
age
Jericho.
of Jericho.
Good.
Yeah.
It was a bit weird, but yeah, pretty cool. Kenny Omega came out, loved his tights and his boots. Looked really cool. Nice to see the Cracker Barrel making another appearance in the ring at the start.
It
of the
was
match
funny
as well.
seeing the ref trying to push it out and then Jericho coming along. And
Yeah,
Sticking to character though, Jericho, while he sorted out some production difficulties.
yeah. But what are our thoughts in general on this match? I'll start off. I'll get the negative stuff out of the way. I didn't think this was a patch on their match in New Japan. I thought it was okay.
I actually enjoyed this one more than the Wrestle Kingdom match, just because the Wrestle Kingdom match was kind of more hardcore and outside, whereas this was more ring based.
Yeah, I agree completely. I thought
Yeah.
Jericho actually brought a lot more to this
Yeah,
match. I think
did.
maybe Kenny looked a little bit rusty, but then he wrestled the whole match with a broken nose.
Yeah.
So, there's
did.
always that.
Yeah. I just thought it was quite sloppy at times. Like we even had the bit where JR was like, "Well, that's the ugliest DDT I've ever seen."
But I think that's kind of the whole thing about Jericho's character now, is that he's kind of gone full circle. As they say, he's reinvented himself to now be kind of like, a rough, brawling type wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even his new finisher, that Judas effect, it's a freaking strike. That's not really what Jericho's known for. So I think that's kind of him trying to embrace sort of the strong style of New Japan in his new wrestling style, which kind of fits maybe an older, slightly slower wrestler.
You still got those great classic Jericho moments though, like where he picked up the camera and was filming Kenny on the floor.
Yes.
Oh, if only they had actually got the camera moment when Kenny spat at him.
Yeah.
A lot of the camera work, it's going to come up and worse to the rest later, but yeah, could have been better.
I really can't wait for Worst of the Rest. Looking forward to
So
that.
just Adam for half an hour.
I feel like I'm like building myself a character on this episode, and I'm going to try and rally against that. But
It's a new promotion. You've got a new gimmick. It's the heel. It's quite cool. I'll tell you what, there was a lion salt that Jericho performed in this match, and I think he did the springing off camera, because all of a sudden you just see Jericho flying onto Kenny, and he had some incredible height. He really went for it.
yeah,
I have to say, I thought Jericho was amazing in this match.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah.
Real turn back of the clock on
Yeah.
that one.
And for someone like, I don't mean to be offensive or body shame, but he's got quite a large frame these days, quite
sure has.
barrel
Cracker Barrel
body
ass.
wise. Yeah, I mean he does look a lot like the Cracker Barrel.
He's got the Kofi Kingston concave chest.
He's got the concave chest as well, which is weird. But I thought, he was great in this. He really was.
I thought this was one of his best matches I've seen in years. I really enjoyed this a lot. I don't know how I feel about his new finisher. I think it's a bit naff.
Yeah, it felt a bit flat because obviously no one had
Got
seen it before.
no crowd reaction at all.
Yeah.
When that 3 count went. Yeah, I thought it was just a good match. Not amazing. What do you think, Brett?
I Same with John. I preferred it to the New Japan match. I thought it was a really good match. I didn't think it was as good as the previous couple of matches. But yeah, I mean, Jericho character work is great. I just think like Kenny probably needs a few more regular matches because I don't think he was at his best, which is why it wasn't awesome for me, because like, you know, Kenny Omega is potentially like the best in the world, and
he's in a bit of a weird spot though, isn't he? Because obviously he is the best in the world, but he also part owns the company, so he can't really
book himself to be the best in the world.
Again, that's like the finish, like with Jericho going over, I wasn't expecting that, so I think that's good, I guess, because I wasn't expecting it, and you know, it doesn't push Kenny straight to the top, but I mean, he's got to get to the top, hasn't he?
He will do, but I think they were very, very canny with this, because I think, you know what, if you want to give AEW legitimacy, you give the title to someone who is going to bring it legitimacy, someone who is proven to be kind of a real star, because like, not being funny, but if you give the title to Kenny Omega or Adam Page, as great as both of them are, they're established on the indies, but Jericho, he is the wrestler who is established in WCW, WWE, ECW, New Japan. Like
maybe also like that star factor would put Adam Page over when he wins it better than Kenny would, because of, you know, like you say, the star factor and the more appeal worldwide that Jericho has.
Yeah,
exactly.
Rather than just on the indie scene.
Talking of star factor, obviously Jericho, he did his little promo afterwards, which was brilliant as always.
Yes,
it's very funny that.
And then we saw there was some reaction in the crowd, wasn't there? A lot of people looking around. You're like, what's going on? And then he did his Shield entrance.
Yeah,
John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose.
Holy crap bags.
Comes through the crowd. I mean, what were you thinking? Were you spending the whole pay-per-view thinking, when's he going to turn up?
I didn't think he was going to turn up. I thought
I saw Ambrose.
I thought he was going to do a bit of a CM Punk and sort of go away from wrestling and write comic books or.
Yeah, well, I'd read that he's filming a film, like, or he was meant to be starting production on a film straight away. So I didn't think he was going to be
right
in AEW just yet. But I did see a spoiler before I watched it that he was there, which
that really sucks.
Yeah,
That's
which did
shame.
Ruin it. But
I
love it.
I spent the whole pay-per-view, or a lot of the pay-per-view, thinking, they haven't really had like a massive surprise yet. I mean, we had Ty Dillinger. Not quite on the same level. Obviously, we had Bret Hart, which will...
Yeah, I'd say that's a bigger surprise than Dean.
But yeah, Dean Ambrose came out. Obviously, DDT to Chris Jericho. DDT to the ref, which was a great touch.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love seeing a ref get battered.
Yeah. And then it looks as if he's going to be starting off a feud with Kenny Omega, which was very just weird to see them.
Bonkers, isn't it?
Together.
Before that, do you know who he's going to be fighting in a New Japan match?
Yeah, of course, because
Juice
Robinson.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I saw that he's...
Yeah, so how he was...
How does this work?
The video, like, why has he got a British flag on his jacket?
Yeah, but
what's his
connection?
connection?
Don't worry about it.
Or was that just to...
It's his new gimmick.
oh shit, that was him, was it?
Yeah, did they have that gimmick, like that video, and they thought we could just put whoever it is in later?
That's who the video was for.
Yeah.
I need to get this video up now. What was it?
Yeah,
I'm
so
sure
we need
I've
to
seen
explain.
it where
Like,
it
listeners might
reveals
not
it's
have
him.
any idea of what we're talking about. There was the video that it's like a little teaser video, wasn't it, of someone coming to New
throughout
Japan.
the Best of Super Juniors,
And he had a leather jacket on, like a biker jacket. He was sitting at a bar. There's a Union Jack, Union Jack thing patch, and a lot of people. There's speculation that it was Chris Ridgway. There's speculation. Who else? What people thinking?
it was Chris Brooks, but Ridgway obviously has
Chris
been
Brooks.
in Noah, so it wasn't going to be him. And then Chris Brooks is going to DDT for a bit, isn't he? I think I saw.
Oh, I don't
in
know.
Japan, so he was going to be at another promotion in Japan.
Bloody hell, Brett is across the Japanese promotions.
It really is.
So,
Unbelievable research.
so I was like, so it's not him. But then I saw something, and I was like, oh, is this a joke? When I saw it was John Moxley.
Yeah, but to clarify then, so because I saw that he has a profile on the New Japan website. So what is the deal? If you sign with AEW, you're signed up with New Japan
No,
as
he's
well?
signed,
No,
but
no.
he's allowed to do dates outside of AEW.
Yeah, I think because they're obviously going to have a bit or try and have a bit of a relationship with some other promotions,
Some
so
crossover,
they're not going to
yeah.
be as, like exclusive as WWE wants to be. Which I think is good if they have like certain relationships set up.
Yeah.
I think fair play as well to. Do we call him Dean Ambrose still or John Moxley?
No,
John Moxley.
John Moxley.
Jonathan Good
Yeah.
is his name. I'm surprised he was never Johnny Be Good.
Oh, I don't think he could pull all off that character. It'd be weird and creepy. Fair play for him to going over to New Japan. I mean, it's not an easy place to go and wrestle, like unless you really want it.
Yeah, and I think we've all said in the past, like we don't really think he's an amazing wrestler, do we?
We don't.
No.
At least I don't. No.
I do think he's good. I've always thought he's been limited in WWE with, with the way they set their matches. But I've always loved his character work and stuff as well.
Yeah.
I think his promos in recent times have been very good ever since coming back from that big injury. I think kind of in the ring, it's always left me kind of wanting a bit more. Like he's always been a little bit reserved and a little bit kind of restricted. Perhaps being on the indies and having a few less kind of rules in place will make him the wrestler that I really want him to be.
Yeah, he'll be better booked. I like the another dig from JR when he said when Moxley was doing his thing and he said he must be feeling more fulfilled than he has in his entire career. God, laying it on thick.
I would have loved if throughout this pay-per-view they had a little meter in the side which just had Vince's rage.
Yeah, definitely that grew and grew because I think in the early, like the first half of the pay-per-view, Vince would have been laughing at a lot of this, just thinking, look, it's not that easy, is it, guys? Look at all these errors you're making. But we'll get to that because I've got about 45 minutes to do on the rest of the rest. So yes, I think we can talk a little bit more about just generally sort of the thoughts of how WWE and AEW are going to go at each other across the coming months, but we can do that towards the end of the podcast. But now I reckon we should have a little break and we'll get on to Best of the Rest.
Back suplex on the apron from Kenny Omega. Literally on the edge of the apron.
Right, Best of the Rest then. Other things we like, matches we like. Should we go right back to the beginning and talk about the Battle Royale?
They did such a good job with this.
Yeah, I thought that was a load of fun.
Yeah.
It's amazing. They introduced a new match. They had a rules card, and I was thinking, oh, here we go.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And then they did a good job.
It was surprisingly easy to follow, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A load of wrestlers come out in groups and just fight each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's enjoyable.
What do you reckon? I mean, it's quite obvious to have Hangman Page. Oh, he managed to draw the Joker.
Yeah.
And then he wins it. I mean, he's the only one who was going to win this, right? He's a pretty obvious winner, considering it was up for, whoever wins it gets a title match.
Yeah.
I think this was a very clever match to put on to kind of showcase a lot of the talent who, you know what, are going to have a lot of chime in the future. If I had a criticism and a compliment at the same time, they've got a lot of great wrestlers in there, like Orange Cassidy, but at the same time, like kind of a lot of these gimmicks are perhaps a little bit one note, like Michael Nakazawa and Orange Cassidy in particular.
Yeah.
They're great. It was a lot of fun seeing them in the ring with the baby oil and the kind of hands in the pocket kick up, which was amazing.
That was good.
Loved that.
But at the same time, do you know what? Are you going to want to watch like half an hour match of those guys or a feud with them or anything beyond?
Well, maybe like when they do their, if they do appear more often when they do this, weekly show that I think is happening, isn't it? I'm not making that up. Like if you're going to have a bit of a mid card, you can have some fun in that mid card.
Yeah,
and who knows how many of them will actually appear regularly? A lot of them could have just been asked to just come and do the Battle Royale.
Also, Sam, like, would you say that you watching some, of the multi-tag matches in New Japan, when
That's a very
Toru
good point.
Yano's there with his DVD case, and then you see him versus Kenny Omega or whatnot in a, G1 match, and it's amazing. So,
I guess you have a very strong point there. Yeah, I think from my point of view, it's a little bit like the WWE mentality behind me watching anything is everyone is striving to be the very top of the card, and perhaps like New Japan doesn't really do that, and you know what, maybe AEW won't as well.
I think that's one of the best things that they've done is that they have put together a roster which is it's sort of clear they've got a lot of lower level stars, a lot of people who deserve a chance and haven't had one before, and then they've got your bigger names. But they have got all these people who are going to be at the lower end of the roster, but people will still want to see them, and loads of them appeared in this, and I think
that's a really good point. People. Yeah, fair point. I tell you who I was very impressed by was Luchasaurus. I can't wait to see more of him.
So big, isn't he? Jesus,
I loved him.
Wow,
he looked amazing,
terrifying looking as well.
Yeah, he really was. I was absolutely delighted that Jimmy Havoc was in the Final Four as well.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
that was great for him.
And his moment later on as well in the main show.
Did you guys get that sort of stupid sense of pride, being like, "That's Jimmy Havoc"? Like,
yeah,
he's English,
a little bit. Yeah.
So like, we're basically mates, and now he's over there.
Really thought he was going to turn heel. Actually, I thought when he came out with little Luke Perry's son, whatever his name is,
Jungle
Boy.
Yeah.
I thought all three of them were going to rush the ring, beat down Brett, and kind of have a bit of a early heel faction, but apparently not.
No. And so MJF, he's going to be big in AEW, isn't he?
His promo at that belt ceremony was top notch.
It was so good
Miz-esque.
on the mic. Yeah,
better than anything the Miz has done recently.
I think,
certainly.
Yeah, he's on a level with Miz, but he will be better, or is already. He's so good.
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought he's definitely going to do well in this new promotion.
I love the fact that Brett was desperately trying not to crack up.
He was,
yeah. But back to the Battle Royale. Any other sort of little moments you want to talk about? I like the locomotion butt from Sunny Kiss.
That was amazing. That was so good.
Sunny Kiss. I saw a note from Goldust saying how he had some input on Velveteen Dream back in NXT, and how he's seen Sunny Kiss and thought, this is the kind of guy I can work with. I can pass some knowledge onto him.
Amazing.
And you can see that, awesome. Definitely.
I wish the camera caught it, but I absolutely loved... I've got Jimmy Hart written down here. Jimmy Hart had nothing to do with this. I loved Jimmy Havoc stapling a cigarette to Joey Janela's head. I thought that was very funny.
About that.
Joey Janela's elimination as well. That chokeslam through the table.
Yeah,
shit. That landing.
And the scream from Penelope Ford as well that just made all the replays awesome.
Yeah, they shrieked that a lot. That was a great scream.
It's great. Yeah, man. I really did enjoy the Orange Cassidy section as well. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
And it was really cool when Hangman came out and just started cleaning house and flooring everyone. That was awesome. He is great. And that buckshot lariat,
so good, isn't it?
Also, has Hangman got the best entrance music?
Don't know,
because I think he might.
It was good.
I like it a lot.
I can't remember what it sounds like. I have to
it's basically just like heavy Western kind of.
Heavy Western.
Heavy Western.
The thing,
this is genre.
Was I was starting to get higher on Hangman Page in New Japan just before he left, because he was having some great matches, but I think in this and the sort of the bit in the announcing the belt later on, I just think they were doing really good in pushing his status up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Elevating him to that sort of top guy status. Because he was cool. His moment in that Battle Royal was awesome. Yeah.
I think Hangman Page is the Kylian Mbappe for me of wrestling. He is the young superstar who is going to be best in the world at one point.
Yeah, probably.
Big shout. Did we all pop for Sean Spears?
I did.
AKA Ty Dillinger?
A little bit.
I'm happy for him. I thought that was great.
He looked bloody jacked though.
Wasn't he the 10th guy as well?
He was, yeah.
But the thing that did for me though, when he came out, I was like, oh man, we're going to get loads of surprises tonight. And then, we did get a couple, and we will come on to them. But
yeah, I think he's legitimately good though. He never really got that opportunity. So I think he's someone else that might slowly surprise in AEW.
So that was it. It was chaotic as always with Battle Royals, and we did miss a lot of the stuff. But as always, again with Battle Royals, but Hangman Page did win, and that sets him up for his title match with Chris Jericho. So looking forward to that one. Any other best of the rest matches that you'd like to talk about, Brett? What did you enjoy?
Best of the rest. I'm going to say that the opening of the main event, so SCE versus OWE. That had so many awesome sequences in it. It was just so good.
I actually feel like I wrote down that we could devote a whole podcast to this because it was so busy and so many spots. I loved it. I genuinely loved this. This is probably my second favourite match after Dusty. And
and all the wrestlers like on both teams, they worked so well together. Especially the OWE guys. Like they hit, I can't remember what the sequence was, but it ended in a German suplex. But it was just like one guy moved, another hit something, another, and then ended. It was just so good.
Yeah,
so much fun, and a great opening, opening match to a show because it was fun, it was frenetic, it was just constantly, like you say, stuff constantly happening.
Yeah, it had an amazing pace to it, and the thing is, it was a spot fest, but it was also really stiff, and it was just really innovative at times.
Yeah,
and and obviously we should mention the fact that they have this new 10 count instead of the 5 count, so allowing the tag team partners to stay in the ring after the tag for 10 seconds rather than 5, and it really it helps, doesn't it? Because it just means they can do more of the team ups.
Generally, actually, the refereeing in this was a lot more kind of akin to the New Japan style of refereeing as opposed to the WWE.
Very hands off.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I think that's great. Let the match be the match. Like, you have that Cody Dustin match, and you have Brandy spear Dustin outside of the ring. WWE, the match is finished.
Yeah.
It was great.
That's true. And obviously the chair coming out. Oh, sorry, the chair. There wasn't a chair. There was a table for the Omega Jericho match because they're not supposed to be doing that. But any other matches or moments, Sam?
I particularly enjoyed Best Friends versus Angelico and Hack Evans.
Yeah, great match.
It's a shame that it didn't land at the very end when they revealed the Super Smash Brothers, because obviously they didn't decide to tell the commentators who they were.
Yeah, I had no idea who they were.
Yeah, me either. I liked all that
human
minions
throne. Yeah, the human throne they made at the end was so creepy.
Was so cool. I loved that. Like, kind of at the time, I was a little bit like, "Who's this? Who's this?" I had to look them up, but kind of watching it and seeing it all come together, like the human throne stuff. It was, I think there's something to that which I'm quite excited to watch.
If they're a team, I think bald beardy guy needs to up his look a bit more. He needs to, or like full face paint or something. He needs to be a bit weirder.
Didn't you just think that was like the whole crowd was chanting, "Who are you?"
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just like, what?
It didn't land.
It really didn't land at all.
No, like I think these guys, they used to wrestle the Young Bucks quite a lot in, I think, PWG. I'm not sure, but generally, I think it was a misstep in that front sense. But looking at it from a kind of, hey, we don't know who this is. And they just beat the shit out of these two tag teams, and then had a really cool kind of gimmick with the nameless masked men.
Yeah,
I'm well on board with it. I want to see more of that.
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought throughout this, actually there's going to be some new people, and this is the first show, and so it's great, and what an impact for new people to make. Like, you don't know who they are, but they've got all these people.
Exactly. And the other thing is, like, you don't want it to be like kind of what WCW did, where it's just like, and here's another WWE wrestler who kind of has passed it or something. Like,
you got to feel like the comms team could have handled it better, because it was like, who else is this? And then Excalibur was like, well, I know, but
I don't want to say. Or something.
It's just like either go fully behind, oh, nobody knows who this is, or just tell us. In fact, it's better to tell us, because then we can have a Google.
Yeah, they're allowed to know. They're allowed to be in the know, and they're allowed to tell us. But I think the comms throughout needed work.
Yeah,
that messed up. But generally, the debut was very cool in my opinion.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, but that's my role. That is my role on this podcast. John, do you want to talk about the title part? Bret the Hitman Hart coming out was one of your best of the rest, or did you have something else?
I was going to mention the women's match because I thought that was fantastic. I just thought very
Which
fast, great spots. The Nia Rose, Britt Baker, Kylie Ray, and then the surprise entrant, Awesome Kong.
Awesome Kong. Who,
I've never seen her wrestle before.
No, listeners.
Have you not?
No. We have to say that Brett picked Awesome Kong on one of the very early drafts before we stuck it on the podcast, before the podcast existed.
Yeah, she had a stint in TNA when TNA was still decent, and she was great. She was awesome.
I was gonna say that's what she's famous for is her TNA days, isn't it?
And she was like really, really great in that, and like I guess would have many matches against Gail Kim and stuff, and just like the size difference, she was great.
She went to WWE for a little while as well. She's one of the few female competitors to have entered the Men's Royal Rumble.
Ooh, good fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Brett drafted her, she went on to become the welfare queen in Glow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which she's really great in as well.
Yeah, she is great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. In that case, I will touch upon the unveiling of the belt. Even though that was slightly strange when Brett actually did lift the belt up after those guys had moved out. It was like, yeah. Anyway, but Jack Whitehall, how weird is this? Jack
weird.
Whitehall comes out. You would never ever think. I mean, I knew he was a wrestling fan, but
I didn't even know that.
Well, weird. The people who pop up.
Did you watch his interview with? Is it Tony Khan and Cody beforehand? Like he's obviously mates with Tony Khan.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
That was the vibe I got from that interview. So that sort of felt like why he was like.
It's just weird.
And
it's
also
just weird.
Because it's going to be on ITV, I think it's like
so that's the impression I got. Was I thought this was maybe an ITV push to
a big name,
a familiar face in there,
yeah, maybe
big British name.
But so he came out. He had the belt. No, he didn't have the belt actually, did he? He introduced who was going to have the belt, and Bret the Hitman Hart comes out, does a little speech, messes up a little bit, but made the best of it, and it was very funny.
Biggest surprise of the night for me, this Bret the Hitman Hart turn up.
Yeah, me too.
That's it now, isn't it? Vince deleted his number.
Yeah.
It's all over.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time Bret pissed Vince off, would it?
No, every time you see Bret on WWE TV, he always looks a bit pissed off, like he doesn't really want to be there.
Do you know what? Bret getting one over on Vince, I'm never going to be upset with that.
No,
God, no. It was absolutely brilliant. I'd love to have seen Vince's face. Do you think Vince watched this?
No.
He didn't, did he?
I think
Triple
he
H
didn't realise what it is.
Triple H did, I reckon.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hopefully. What do we think of the belt?
I like that it's sort of like a throwback belt.
Oh, I bloody love the belt.
I need a closer look.
I think I 90% love the belt, 10% don't love
Fucking hate it.
AEW sort of the way that's it slapped in the middle.
Felt quite a lot like a New Japan belt, which I quite like.
Totally.
Yeah, it looks like the old WCW one.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's huge and it's like all shiny and that's great.
Huge and shiny.
It's not just a big logo.
Yeah.
It's so much better than the 24/7.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, that's not hard. Right then, is that it for Best of the Rest?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, then let's move on to my favourite new segment. It's Worst of the Rest. Woo! No, I'm joking. Just because usually whenever we do other pay-per-views, I'm like, right, let's not do too much Worst of the Rest. Let's keep that short. And we will keep this short because I'd imagine you guys don't have much to discuss on this. Shall I start?
Please do.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Can you tell I'm chomping at the bit?
Yep.
I honestly just think they missed a golden opportunity to have this a lot shorter. I think one of the major complaints from wrestling fans these days is that pay-per-views are just too long. That not only are there too many of them, but they're too long. And I feel personally like particularly the Best Friends versus Angelico and Jack Evans, and maybe even the match, like the 3 versus 3 women's match with all the Japanese wrestlers, because we have absolutely no reason to be invested in those matches at all. I don't really know why they belonged on a pay-per-view.
Well, the Best Friends and Helico match, they did build those up on the YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Well, I've watched all of the Road to Double or Nothing, and I didn't really get that. Did they have more on Being the Elite or something?
So yeah, it's definitely the Best Friends.
Yeah. I just think it's just like that. It just felt like they felt like exhibition matches, and then if they're going to be that kind of match, then I think they need to be shit hot. It's not like there's any culmination of a feud or anything like that. They need to be amazing, and I thought both those matches were kind of average and didn't need to be on the card.
See, I think the big thing about this pay-per-view is more so than All In, which is all just kind of just a one-off, like a single issue type coin. But this was about building stories for the future programming.
Exactly.
And
exactly
introductions
that.
as well, I think, like introducing you to new people.
Yeah, hugely. Like, kind of, I think if you were to change this around, if we were to say, for example, make this a 2-hour pay-per-view and we just focused on the elite wrestlers, just Cody, Bucks, Jericho, Omega, all of that, it would just be kind of like, I think the criticism would be so much worse in the fact that it'd just be like, oh, this is just a vehicle for them to promote themselves. And none of the matches on this were shorter than 10 minutes. Like, that's a huge thing. When you look at kind of what WWE do with their pay-per-views, where you will inevitably get 2 or 3 shitty squash matches which just add nothing. This was a real accomplishment, I think, for wrestling in general.
Plus, there wasn't lots of big advertising segments for their own network or their own, pay-per-views that are coming up, like in between.
Well, that's the thing. That may well come in time, but
it may. But it was just mostly show.
We can all agree that that's too long for a pay-per-view, 3 hours 52, right?
I don't know. I don't think I do, actually. I think that this actually flew by.
I loved every second of this. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the difference. If you're enjoying it all, it's not.
But like that Angelico Best and Jack Evans match, did you actually love that match?
I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
I just like Angelico. I just don't really get like.
I thought he was a bit off in that match.
He just doesn't have the it factor at all for me. And this might be harsh. This is his first match. He could well have been very nervous because it's probably one of the biggest matches of his career. But yeah, I just found that those matches, the early matches, the first half of the pay-per-view as a whole, apart from the opening 3v3, 3v3, I just thought, I could have cut all this and this would have been an incredible pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm really not with you on that one.
4 hours is too long. Practically, we try and do a podcast about it. It's too much fucking wrestling. It's too much to watch.
The thing is that the impression I got from watching All Elite was that it felt a lot more like kind of New Japan in tone than WWE. And New Japan are also criminally long when it comes to their pay-per-views. But I think kind of the whole thing behind it is that, you know what, you could almost tune in 3 or 4 matches in, watch the second half of the show and still get a lot out of this.
Yeah, I wish I'd done that.
I don't feel like that's the same in WWE. Like, they are constantly hyping up their own packages and kind of going back to replays and what happened earlier in the night and all of that. And I think if you were to cut all the fat off WWE, you would have a much shorter pay-per-view. So, I mean, like, the reason I don't like WWE being so long is because they fill it with so much crap.
Yeah, it's not matches that they fill it with.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like I'm flogging a dead horse. I'm not going to persuade you all, but
you lose. Sorry.
Okay, so you guys fans of 4? I'll remember that when it's my next rewind. I'll pick another 4-hour one for you guys. Anything that you guys didn't like, Sam?
The camera work, the commentary, generally that needed a lot of work and a lot of polish.
Yeah.
And
stuff you can kind of forgive them for, but also you kind of think they've had a lot of time to maybe practice some of this stuff.
I don't know. I think there's just stuff that needs to be worked on. Like, I think kind of it was a great pay-per-view. I don't think it was as good as All In.
Oh, I'd say this was better than All In.
I think this had better production values, but it's still got a way to go. And I'm a little bit concerned that I really hope that they don't overly rely on blood and kind of like going too far on the extreme side of things to try and kind of draw an audience.
Yeah.
I think the lack of replays. I think, like, for example, that 3-on-3 Japanese women's match, the entrance videos, why did they have all of them cycling at the same time? Why not just have one for the person that was walking in? That was really confusing. That was a bit weird. In that match, they also had the bell. The bell was being rung off after a 2 count.
I like how they dealt with that.
Yeah, I thought they handled that really well, especially the ref. She was like, "No, 2."
Do you know what?
Actually, I think back on with it. It's great.
This was something that was really good about a whole of this show. Is when mistakes were made, they kind of just rolled with them. They didn't kind of try and hide them up or anything, or say like, "Oh, the universe thought this or that or whatever." It was just like, nah, they kind of mistakes were made and they rolled with it.
Yeah, if we get like a few more shows down the line and they're still making some of these production mistakes, then you start to really hammer them for it. And then the the real criticism comes. But for this one, they get a pass. Like they're my sort of worst of the rest moments is like, you know, the commentary, the camera work, but it's not anything that, you know, affected my viewing, and it's just something along the line that could start to get annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we should move on, because the last thing I want is for listeners to get in touch and go, podcast over an hour, could have been 40 minutes. It's just too long. It's just too long. So, star performer now, and I'm guessing we're all going to pick the same person, but I'm going to give the floor to Sam Andrews, who's now going to give us a 10-minute diatribe about his favourite wrestler of all time. Who's your star performer?
It's Orange Cassidy. Dustin Rhodes, man. What a performance. Just incredible. I'm so happy for him.
I realised I just said diatribe, and I think that's actually a negative thing, isn't it? If you were giving a 10-minute diatribe, it would be like you ranting about how much you hate something.
Do you know what, Adam? A lot of the time you actually say long and confusing words that I don't understand, and I just roll with it.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah, good shout. I'm definitely going for Dustin Rhodes as well. Brett?
Yeah, the natural Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin. John?
Yeah, it's got to be Dustin Rhodes.
Nice. Wow.
I mean, he gave, like, you know, 90% of his blood for this show.
Yeah, I know.
So much blood.
So much blood that actually, when they did the belt thing afterwards, did you see the whole floor was completely red?
Yeah.
The whole ring was red.
Do you know whether they replaced it or whether they...
I think they must have replaced it.
Yeah.
I think they scrubbed it, because I noticed there were some faint patches in some of the corners.
Really?
I thought they just burnt it.
Who knows? Wow.
They just squeezed it all the way back into Dustin, just wringed it out like a towel.
Okay, time to rate the pay-per-view out of 10, and this could be an interesting one, because I'm going to ruin it for you guys. John, what did you give this?
So before this pay-per-view, I was so excited about the possibilities of AEW, and after it, I'm even more excited. It's a 10.
Fucking
Wow.
Okay, Sam.
I love this pay-per-view. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I can't wait to see what they do next. I think WWE should be very worried. 8.4.
Fucking 0.4. Brett.
Oh, the point something. I love this pay-per-view. There is room for improvement, but I love where they're going. So I am going to go high with a 9.
Nice. And like John, before this, I was very excited about AEW and where it could go. And after it, I wasn't that delighted. But because of the Dustin and Cody match, and because of a couple of other things, I'm going to give it a 7.5. 7.5.
That gives us an overall rating of 8.725.
Ooh, that is very, very strong. And amazingly, it is now our second favourite ever pay-per-view that we've ranked.
What's ahead of it?
NXT TakeOver New York with a 9.875. That got 3 10s.
I mean, that's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
That was a great pay-per-view.
Yeah. And I'm the only person still not to give a 10. Because that perfect pay-per-view is going to come on my deathbed. And I'm going to be on my deathbed because I will have just
What happens if you're in a
completed
deathbed
the main event.
and the only pay-per-view on is Fastlane?
It's getting a 10.
Yeah, it's getting a 10. It's getting a 10 from me. Okay, what an amazing score. Well done, AEW. And we have to agree it's all very exciting. I think we should probably just quickly touch upon like predictions for the future. This is like a full-on war we've got now. And how exciting is that?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's what WWE have needed for a long, long time, is a real competitor. Someone to actually push them to do something better than just fucking Goldust versus Undertaker in a Saudi show.
Yeah. As long as, and I think they will, because like the guys fronting it, they're all like wrestlers. They know the business, and you know they know what they enjoy. So they don't do the WCW thing. They just do their thing. So it can be a war, but it's them doing their thing, which makes them great, rather than trying to do WWE, like, you know, but to 11 sort of thing. Don't do that.
Yeah,
just stick to your guns, and don't don't worry about like applying cash into it. Don't worry about trying to take it, because you know WWE with the network and their worth, like there's no taking over them. They're always going to be there. Just be an alternative that is awesome.
Absolutely. It's such an important thing to actually highlight, is that kind of no one wants WWE to fall apart and fail and not do anything.
They just need competition.
Yeah. We love
competition
WWE.
is healthy.
But at the same time, there's a lot of problems with WWE, which AEW is all of a sudden going to address.
Yeah.
And it's just going to give an alternative, which is as enjoyable. And I want to continue watching both.
Yeah. And it might force WWE to, not just up their game, but also, maybe change the way they do their contracts and, all other manner of things. It could potentially just be great all round for WWE and for wrestling and every other promotion. Having good competition.
Competition is just healthy. Yeah. And that's why me and Adam are forming a new podcast.
Yeah. No chance. It would never be you and me, would it, Sam? Let's face it. Imagine the production meetings.
They'd actually be efficient and get stuff done.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Yeah, I think, you're right. We don't want WWE to fail, but we do want ratings to plummet even further. And we do want the crowds to continue chanting AEW at their shows because we want Vince to get annoyed and we want Vince to realise that he is not doing the right thing. I know that sounds impossible.
Yeah.
He's the most stubborn man in the world, but
I think he's on a par with Donald Trump on how he sees the world.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but
no matter
he's
what
such
you do,
a massive
he's not
problem.
going to change it.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
did you see on Monday Night Raw last night we had a Shane O'Mac squash match, and during that the crowd started chanting AEW.
I didn't, but that's
we
awesome.
did have in Raw yesterday. So you had 1 minute and 8 seconds of wrestling in the first 45 minutes.
Yeah,
yeah. I noticed not to that extreme, but that the other week when I was trying to catch up on them, and I was just like, oh, this is what I used to hate. There was a point in the Attitude Era where they would have in the first hour hardly any wrestling, and it would just be this person come out and talk and do a promo, this person, that person, and I just used to bore me to tears. I wanted to see some wrestling. I like story, but I want to see some wrestling.
Yeah.
See, I was fine with it when it was the Attitude Era, but now they're PG. It's almost like it's 45 minutes of people calling each other poopy head and stuff.
Poopy head.
Right. You bloody poopy head. Let's move on. And let's do hardest question of the week after this.
Question of the week.
Right, so I asked on Twitter on Sunday night, what is the number one thing WWE could learn from Double or Nothing? And obviously we spoke about a few then, but we had a few good responses. Joel Holio says, simple, let wrestlers wrestle.
Oh, controversial.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah. Heel Nick Payne says, Cody is a wrestling genius. Man, yeah. I bet they never had any clue that all this was going to happen when Cody walked out the door. Loserweight says, sign Jonathan Good and let him play a real intense crazy guy.
Nice.
Obviously, Jonathan Good, the real name of John Moxley / Dean Ambrose. Very funny. MJ from the Riptide After Party Pod. There's a new episode of that out right now, by the way. I'm not on it, so you can avoid my negativity that I obviously have running through my veins at the moment. He says, run pay-per-views on a Saturday instead of a Sunday.
Yes.
Oh my God. Preaching to the choir.
That
Yes.
was so nice. I could stay up and watch a bit of it live and not destroy myself the next day.
Yeah. He says, I won't be watching either way, but it's nicer for my friends. MJ, why aren't you watching?
This is the best point I've heard about this entire thing is that, do you know what? If you want to be a global brand, maybe appeal to a global audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Really. I mean, it would make such a difference. And then finally, older Mr. Beerface says, if you want increased fan investment in the product, give the wrestlers more creative control.
Yeah.
Which I have to agree with, but it's never going to happen.
In WWE.
Yeah, there's also a line
in
as well.
WWE,
Do you really want Ryback to have creative control?
Well, he's not there anymore.
I know, but it's it's a line.
Well, I guess what he's, the top guys, the guys who actually know what they're talking about, the guys who are invested in it and are mega fans and understand the business.
Do you know what? No, I disagree. I do want Ryback to have creative control. Because do you know what? My second favourite Matrix film is The Matrix Reloaded. And that's great because it's terrible.
So Ryback's creative control would be terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So bad it's good.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with Ryback.
I can see that. It'd be hilarious.
If and when Ryback starts his own promotion, then Sam, you're going to be our correspondent.
Hey man, it took me 70 episodes, but we got there with Gold Dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
We'll get there. Okay, good stuff. Let's call an end to this. Our next podcast is actually going to be in a couple of weeks because we have done, I think, 4 weeks in a row. So, you know what we're like. We're all a bit flaky. We need some time off to rest and recuperate. So next week we won't be around, but then the week after that, at the moment, it's either going to be a top 5 or maybe a roundup of news and stuff like that. So keep an eye on our social media for more news on that. And then, John, we've got the quiz coming up in June.
Quiz! Whoop! I need to write said quiz.
Right Said Quiz.
That should be the quiz name.
Yes.
Do you know that was the first album on CD I ever owned? Was Right Said Fred's Up.
Oh my God.
Fascinating insight to my upbringing there.
Deeply Dippy is one of my mum's favourite songs. I feel like I've said that on the podcast before.
Yeah, I don't feel like this is the first time we've discussed this.
Okay, there we go. Right Said Fred, reoccurring theme in Hardest Part of the Ring.
Yeah, good stuff. Any Right Said Fred fans out there, if they want to get in touch with us, Brett, what do they do?
They send their emails to Adam and...
I'm too sexy at Hardest Part of the Ring.
Yes, email us at hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. Get us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. We are at Hardest Part Pod. Check out our shop, where at some point I will have time to perhaps do a new t-shirt. So keep an eye on that, hardestpartofthering.bigcartel.com.
You're going to have to do a new one because we're totally sold out of all the others.
Yes, done. I need to do a new one. I need time.
Yeah, you do, but get the people excited. That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Early
Cool.
teas.
Thank you very much to everybody for listening and downloading and hopefully rating and reviewing as well. But until not next week, but the week after, that is it from us. Thank you and goodbye from me. Goodbye from Sam.
Feed me more.
Goodbye from John.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from Brett.
Bye.
That was the Hardest Part of the Ring.
And we thanked Jericho, didn't we?
We did.
Just
well, you
making
did.
Sure. Okay, cool.
Thanks, Jericho.
That is the hardest part